Welcome back to episode 10 of our Minijet CUB build series. Now this is the last episode of actual building in this series, which is super exciting. And today we're gonna be putting the last few touches on the aesthetic side of the boat. So that's the turf, the vinyl wrap, and we're gonna drop the bench seat in. So I do have a little secret to let you guys in at the end of the video, but you're gonna have to stick with me till then. Before that, let's get installing our foam decking and get to it. All right, so last week we talked a little bit about this HydroTurf material that goes all over the deck of the Minijet CUB and preparing some templates for it. So Ben, do you wanna show us how we take those templates and turn them into an actual kit?
Yeah, so we touched on quickly before how to take a template. We like to use this brown craft paper. It's very affordable, and you can get it in a 60-inch wide sheet, which is more than the width of the HydroTurf. So it's a great base material to use. You'd lay that on the boat. This is a dash piece, so it actually goes under the windshield in here. But you'd lay your paper down on the panel that you want to cover, so it's overhanging the edges. And you can run a pencil or even a dirty finger on the edges to basically trace all your edges onto the paper. And then you cut that out to the shape that you want. And then the next step is to lay that down onto your base material. So this is just a scrap piece to show you guys. So there's a couple different ways to do it depending how you take the template and how you want to cut it. If it's a super complicated piece, I like to flip it over. You can do it on the back, so you can actually draw on this backing material. If it's hard to keep the template pinned down, or you have to fold it up around something complicated, you can actually draw this right on there. Alternatively, you can also, if it's an easier shape, you can lay it right on the top, and it's just quicker to basically cut around the paper. So we'll do it the nice way quickly here. Lay this down here, we got our marker. It's also a good idea to have something heavy to lay down so your template doesn't move around on you. Also, any straight cuts, it's a lot easier to run the knife against a ruler than try to freehand that nice and straight. So all the straight cuts, I'll just mark the edges or the ends of the lines, and I'll use my ruler on those to get a perfectly straight cut. So just mark our corners. So there's 3 straight edges and 1 curved one on this piece. So those are all drawn on. Now I'm going to cut the curved edge here with, again, just a sharp razor blade. Now we have all of our corners marked for the straight lines, so we can remove the template and our scrap. And then just connect the dots here.
And the good thing about the HydroTurf is it's completely fuel resistant. So these scraps aren't just garbage. We actually like to use them for lining fuel tank cradles or stuff like that. Anything that needs abrasion resistance, it's a fantastic material for.
Yeah, there's loads of spots to use it in the boat. On our stuff, we like to round the corners so that there's no kind of pointy edge that can get peeled up easily. So to do that, my preferred method is a grinder with an old Scotch-Brite flap wheel, and you can just kind of round it like you would metal. It cuts very easily and very quickly, so you have to be careful. See there, that gives you a quick one, but a relatively nice edge, nice and rounded over. This is flat black turf, which is what we use on the CUB. It doesn't quite have every surface covered. We do just enough for the boat to be functional and comfortable. But on our turnkey boats, we offer we can turf any part of the boat that you prefer. It's all custom, up to you.
Okay, so then once you've got your HydroTurf kit all cut out, the next step is throwing it down and making sure it sticks to your boat. So what are some steps that we could take to, I guess, get good adhesion and make sure that this stuff lasts a long time?
Yeah, so the glue is very good on this. If the aluminum is prepped properly, it sticks better than anything I've ever seen stick to aluminum. It's very good stuff. So to get the prep correct, you want to remove any grease. So wipe the surface down with rubbing alcohol or mineral spirits or something like that. Make sure there's no grease or dust or debris. It doesn't necessarily need to be a sanded surface as long as it's clean. It will stick to shiny metal, no problem as well.
And I guess the one special note is the engine cover. We talked about covering it in bilge coat material or some sort of epoxy adhesive because it doesn't like to stick to the raw CUSA.
Yeah, and again, I would recommend if you're going to stick this to something besides aluminum or that coated CUSA to do like a test piece. Just to make sure that long term it's going to stick well. Installing it on a larger piece, like say this front deck, you'd want to kind of peel the beginning and apply it at the tip here. And then again, because it's so sticky, if you were to peel the whole thing, it's probably going to stick in the wrong spot somewhere else. So you can just kind of, as you peel it back, you can make sure that you're aligning with your edges nicely. As you're peeling the sticky back off underneath it.
And like you mentioned, this stuff sticks really good. So it's not like vinyl where you can kind of tack it down and then peel it back up.
No.
Once it's down, it's pretty well down. And to get it off, we've had to use everything from a rubber wheel to even adhesive remover doesn't work very well. But ultimately, I think the fastest thing you've said is grinding it off.
Yeah, pretty much got to grind it off. It's which is a testament to its durability. It's very good stuff. As far as options for the actual turf itself, this is HydroTurf. So it comes in sheets, I think they're 4x8 sheets that they come in. So that's the flat black, and then they also offer a diamond pattern like this. They offer straight cut lines and a bunch of other ones. So those are sheets you have to cut yourself. That's kind of the base option. And then the next option is this stuff. This is a CNC cut. It's the same material, but double layered. So you get 2 different colors so that when it's cut through, it reveals the lower color. So you kind of get this contrasting two-tone going on. And so this is quite a bit more complicated to make. You have to template the boat digitally in CAD in the computer. And then we outsource the cutting, so it's a big router table that will router all these grooves, and there's a knife that CNC cuts all these holes, so they're perfectly fit to your boat. And you can also do cool designs like this. You can do a logo, lots of options. So that's the premium selection here. So
both the HydroTurf and our CNC cut product come in a whole variety of colors, like Ben said. So I'll flash some of these options for the HydroTurf up on the screen. And the other option, you can see here what a fully finished boat kit looks like when we do the CNC cut option. Now this one's got quite a bit of use. This is our shop boat, but you can see what Ben mentioned there about having full logos cut into the back of it. Any pattern that you want is really on the table there. So a pretty fantastic option if you want to really give your boat some unique look to it.
Yeah.
And
you could tie it into any vinyl or paintwork that you have on the outside. It brings the whole boat together.
Yeah,
for sure.
It does look really good when it's done. It really, like Ben said, ties everything together. So on the Cub standard, we do the front deck here. We'll do this swim deck at the very back, and then we'll do the engine cover as well. We'll also do the floor in the Cub and that dash panel as well. We've seen people go pretty crazy with this stuff, throwing it literally like on the outside of the boat, on the inside of the windshield, literally everywhere that you could touch. Some people do, but I think there's a point of excess somewhere in there. So.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a soft touch. It's good for anywhere. Like you're resting your arm. The aluminum gets really hot in the sun, so it helps insulate against that. It also has a sound deadening property, so we find the more you put on the boat, the more it kind of dampens all those aluminum panels that you have in your boat.
Make sure that you do all of your prep properly, plan it out. It is one of those things where the prep is really most of the execution, and sticking it down is just a tiny fraction of the work there. So, I guess this stuff's pretty perfect for any high traffic area on your boat. So anywhere that you want to stand, we wouldn't recommend standing on bare aluminum or even a wrapped surface. This stuff is A1. It's our go-to. It's what we always recommend, and wouldn't really suggest anything else, to be honest with you.
No, it's a huge safety thing too. If you're on a wet aluminum boat without it, you're probably going to fall off. So it's required by our standards.
Next up, I guess we've got to talk about the other component of the interior. That's the elephant in the room. That's our seats there. So let's hop over to that. So on the Minijet CUB, every boat is standard with a bench seat. There's 4 colors to choose from, but installing the seat into the boat is a bit of an interesting process with some custom stuff that we've designed here. So I'll let Ben kind of walk us through how we mount a bench seat into one of our boats, what some of the other options are in terms of seating and color choices as upgrades or from scratch if you're building a boat on your own.
Yeah, so this is a cub size seat box. So this will take a bench seat, obviously due to the width compared to a bucket seat like this. These rails need to be tacked on at the precise width to fit your seat on here.
The easiest way to do that is basically just bolting your seat to the rails to start with, and then kind of floating it all on the box and tacking the rails in place when it's all together.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. You just got to be careful that you don't burn your seat. Just watch your tacks, aim the gun away from the seat. That's no problem. That's kind of the standard setup for a cub, is a bench seat. The other thing you can do with this box is you can also do 2 bucket seats on here. So you need another set of these, a pair here and a pair here. Again, make sure they're set up properly. Make sure you have the seats, pointed at the steering wheel nice and straight relative to how the box is screwed into the boat. Alternatives to this, we also offer pedestal seats. We have adapters that will adapt these seats to like a regular fishing style seat. Those modular pedestals that you can even move the seat up to the bow of the boat if you want to fish off there. That's an option. And then we also offer S5 suspension seat bases. So it's got an air shock and a linkage that actually allows the seat to go up and down. It's adjustable air pressure on the shock, so you can set it to your weight and how rough the water is that day. That's the ultra premium option, very comfy.
And I guess the reason that we stick with these guys as basic is they give you that little bit of height, which is super helpful to see over the front of the boat. It makes it a little bit more comfortable than sitting directly on the floor. And it gives you all this storage space underneath, like Ben mentioned. So you can actually flip the seat forward to get at this storage space, which is super handy. And obviously the advantage of a bigger storage box means that you can store bigger things. So if you want like a folding fishing rod or a rifle or anything like that, you can throw it under there pretty easily. As well, the individual ones are super handy for throwing things like ropes or bumpers or anything like that if you're boating around and just need somewhere to toss something that you're not going to use for a little bit. So in terms of the aesthetics of the seat, they're pretty customizable, like we mentioned, when you're building a seat from scratch. So I guess, Ben, do you want to take us through a little bit on that?
Yeah, so the seats, like Imran said, are fully customizable. You can pick from any of these colors. There's loads, and there's a few different textures or materials, I guess. Leather, suede, canvas kind of stuff, lots of options.
When you're picking your mini boat seat colors, there's 2 things that I like to keep in mind. One is dirt and the other one is heat. They kind of work against each other, but as you can see, some colors tend to hide fingerprints and grease a little bit better than others, but the ones that hide the grease better are the ones that'll get hotter in the sun. So very much a balancing act and depends on the activities and how much work you plan on doing on your boat while the seats are installed. But we generally find a dark or light gray plus an accent color is kind of the way to go. As well, we like the vinyl fabric generally, as it's really easy to wipe down and it doesn't hold water, unlike some of the other options there. And this guy also offers an integrated drain here so that the water doesn't soak into your seat. It all just exits through the bottom. So that's a really handy thing about these seats and something to keep in mind when you're customizing your own colors, if that's something that you choose to do.
Yeah, and it's really cool. You can customize the back panel color, the side panel color, the bottom, all your piping, the stitching color. You can pick, there's a couple different stitching pattern options as well. There's also an option for a goggle pocket in the front here, or a pocket in the back for a hydration bag. There's some higher back, like with the headrest type seats. There's reclining backs. There's lots of different options. We like the simple, less moving parts.
Yeah, I think that pretty adequately covers everything about the seats and what goes into a bench seat in the Cub and how you can put one in and how you can even upgrade it to a set of 2 standalone seats if you wanted to. Let's, I guess, jump to showing you how we vinyl wrap and get to it. So now is the time to do vinyl on the Cub. Very fun step. Get to personalize your boat a little bit, make it unique to you. Now, I guess for the Cub, we do a standard vinyl pattern that's all the way down the sides. But this customer is getting an upgrade, which is vinyl on the windshield. So Ben's going to take us through how we're going to do that. The procedure is the exact same if we were going to do it on the sides, correct?
Yeah, more or less. The Cub, we don't wrap any of the vinyl over any corners. It's all on flat panels, so it's pretty easy. You barely need a heat gun to stretch it at all. Should be pretty straightforward. So We're gonna start by measuring the panels. So this is a low windshield, so we're gonna do this in 3 panels. We're gonna cut out basically 3 rectangles that are gonna cover these panels. You want a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches hanging over each edge so you have something to grab to stretch if you need to. So we're gonna measure these. 42 by 10 inches should run over our edges there. So we need 2 pieces of that. I'll just write that down quickly. And then for the windshield's a little trickier to measure. We have to imagine that a rectangular piece is gonna actually come up to here because we have to hit these edges. It's gonna curve around. So you wanna leave a little bit extra on this guy. So we'll go 20 inches by 54, should give us a couple inches over the edges.
And I guess we can insert a photo as well of the actual windshield cutout, because it, like Ben is saying, it's not a rectangle, it's more of like a smiley face almost. So
yeah, so now we've got our numbers, our 3 sheets to cut, so we'll cut those out, have them ready to go.
And so before we get to cut tape and prep, I guess we've still got to sand as well, which has already been done here.
We do, yes. We always use an orbital sander to knock any slag and spatter off from the welding. And also any little scratch from another piece of metal going across it will flick up a burr, so we want to knock any of that off. So quick sand up to 220 grit is plenty. And then obviously blow all the dust off. And then we're going to, before any vinyl or the cut tape goes on, we're also going to wipe those areas with rubbing alcohol to remove any grease.
Perfect. So after that, all prep work is done. The next step is that knifeless tape.
Yeah, so the way this stuff works is this 3/16 inch wide plastic tape. And in the center of it, there's a Kevlar fiber. And it's very strong, and it's easy to separate this plastic from it. And what this string is going to do, it's very strong and it's very fine. So when you pull it, it will cut through the vinyl. So we lay this down underneath. It's repositionable, so you can get your lines exactly where you want them. And then we lay the vinyl on top and then pull the string out, and it's going to cut exactly on our line.
Cool. Do you think we could just see a little demo without the vinyl on top, just to get an idea of how it works? Kind of deceptively, you do need a lot of stick out on the end, I guess,
Yeah.
to be able to grab.
And I'll just, so if we imagine this was our big sheet of vinyl, it's gonna run over our edge. We're gonna squeegee that down with a squeegee that I don't have on me right now. So you wanna make sure that over top of that tape is all pressed down nicely. What we're gonna do is keep it from being pulled out yet. We're gonna pinch with the fingernail and rip the green cover tape off, just enough to expose the inner. And I like to put my finger over where the tape is going underneath and the vinyl itself, and then pull the cord out from underneath your finger to get it started. And then you can just pull, it's gonna nicely cut an edge there. And then we'll remove all the tape from underneath, remove our excess, and then again, I don't have the squeegee, but you squeegee this edge back down. And then that's gonna give you a nice cut line without having a knife actually cutting through the vinyl and into the metal. So if you had multiple layers of vinyl, that's where you don't wanna do that. You wanna leave that bottom layer uncut. So that will allow you to cut on top of it. And also it gives you the chance to reposition. So you could cut this with a knife if you wanted, but you're gonna be able to get a perfect cut with this because it's repositionable. You don't have to freehand the cut completely. Yeah.
Awesome. So pretty self-explanatory. I guess now the next step is getting those big sheets cut out, get them surfaces prepped, and then put the knifeless tape down before we put the vinyl on, and then stick the vinyl and pull tape, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll show you once we get it taped up what that looks like. Again, we're gonna do this in 3 panels, and so we want almost like a shingle effect. If you imagine the boat is usually going forward at speed. So we wanted to do the rear section first so that the front piece overlaps on top of that, and it doesn't have an edge facing the wind and the potential water washing up there. It'll keep the vinyl stuck down properly. So you got to think about your order of pieces.
Awesome. Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, we'll catch back up when everything's cut out and ready to be stuck down.
If only I could find a way.
All right, so we wiped it with ISO to remove all the grease, and then my hands are clean, I wash them off. We're gonna use air and the hand to knock any of the lint from the cloth off of this pan here. So.
And so these, I guess we'll cut out with a knife, just run it along the edge of the aluminum.
Yeah.
And probably similar deal with those.
Yeah, same with the letters. Yeah, that's all gonna be knife work at the end.
Now we gotta pull the knifeless tape.
So yeah, we're gonna hold it still, peel off that outer, and just start ripping it.
Cool. And even though it seems super simple, the more consistent you are with your knifeless tape pull, the cleaner your result will be. If you kind of like hesitate or shake or jitter it, can tear it a little differently.
Yeah, and it'll act differently depending on the thickness of the vinyl, if you have a textured version.
And it's not really a problem here because this is above the water line, but if you are doing vinyl all the way down your boat right to the chine cap, there are products that you can use to help make sure that the pieces aren't kind of flaking off. I guess there's an adhesion promoter from 3M, as well as some tapes that you can use to keep everything kind of held down. But generally it's not something that we use on a regular basis. So. All right, I'll check back in on you, Ben.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna take a minute to do that one. But,
okay.
We'll see it after, it's gonna look good.
Well, with that, we are finally finished the Minijet CUB build series. Now, if you've been following along with your own build at home, I do want to remind you that you can find everything that was featured in this video on our website under the finishing kit. That'll get you enough turf, vinyl, get you the right amount of seats to finish your own boat, depending on its size. And our seals team is great. They'll help you pick all the colors and patterns of all the different materials to make sure they all play nice with each other. Now, just like our finishing kit, we also sell both the hull kit to build your own boat, just like this one, and our rigging kit, which gives you everything you need to outfit the hull, just like we've shown you in the past videos here. Now I can let you guys in on that secret I told you about at the beginning of the video. I'm not sure if you guys caught it, but this series actually featured 3 different boats being built, all of which are now out in the wild enjoying their life. So why am I telling you this? Well, if you want to see what a Cub looks like all finished, you can already check the video out on our YouTube channel. It's a walk around that we did. It's super great. You can click up here, I think, and it should take you there. Now, there will still be one more video in this series, which is really exciting. We're gonna go over all the water testing procedure and show you guys what a water test looks like when you come along with us. So be sure you're subscribed to see that one. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below. And with that, catch you in the next one.